Hello. It's Wednesday. How is everyone? I know Steven rated earlier, and it sort of worked because I have it on my alerts as Steven rated, so that's great. At 4:45, and it's not 4:45 right now. It's what time is it? 7:11. It is not 4:45. But welcome raiders for that. Thank you for being here for that. That's the button I want. Have to remember how my stream deck is laid out. Conveni time. Sapphire Rebecca says, you were offline. I was offline. So, I was recently told today by a doctor that I'm way too dehydrated, so I've been trying to prevent that and make that better. So I have a myriad of drinks to finish today. I went to the store and bought coconut water and some other things. So that was great. Sapphire Rebecca says mood, and Nidowin says dehydration gang. Yeah. Do you remember me saying the other day when I had a blood test and I did real bad? Yeah, those blood results showed I was dehydrated. And she said, no wonder you felt bad. You were dehydrated. And I was like, ah, yes. She's like, that's not good, girl. You need to promise me you need to do better than that. So here I am, trying to fix it. Lunar Pearl says, are we a drink goblin today? Sure are. Team Riptide says, I despise coconut water. Me too. Chess says, your blood is blocks. That is not typical. Yeah, they almost sent me for a second blood test, and I was like, oh, that's not gonna be good. Jacket K says, can they tell that in a blood test, especially when you fast? So, I had two types of blood tests. I forget what they were called. But one of them required me to fast, and I couldn't remember when I started fasting if I was allowed to drink water. So I didn't. And then I went into the blood test, and some of my numbers were high. And she's like, yeah, that's because your blood was so concentrated and you weren't hydrated. Because it was all the ones that show that. Oops. It had been a while. So, we're working at that. She said something about, like, some other number showed that it was chronic also, so she's like, you just need to drink more. And she's like, and not just water. She's like, you need to, like, fix this. So, like, electrolytes. She's like, alternate. So this is my current not electrolyte drink, and then, I'll go have some coconut water at some point. And I'm not thrilled about it, because I don't like coconut water much. So, it's just medicine. That's what I tell myself. Snowfox says, thanks, Jess. Snowfox says, being dehydrated would probably make it harder to stay conscious through the vagus nerve stimulation of a blood draw. And that's why I got faint and did not do well. Yeah. I mean, normally I don't do well, but that day was especially bad. Like, real bad for me. Like, worse than normal for a blood draw. Anyway, I've recovered from that, and now I'm, like, trying to make sure I'm hydrated. So, yeah. So we're going to be finishing this painting tonight. I suspect I'll finish it at least. That doesn't always happen sometimes. I'm like, yeah, I only got this much left to do, and it takes longer. But I'm suspecting there's not much left to do. So we will get started on that in a second. But we had a subscription from Riverstyx19. Thank you. Welcome. 5 months from the Cactusay. 5 months from Smart Guy 93. Renee says, I'm working on my third 28-ounce water bottle right now. Very proud of this. Very proud of you. Snowfox says, you might try Liquid IV, which is fruit-flavored electrolyte drink, expensive but very tasty. So I was talking to Noah about that actually today, and Noah recommended some things for me, but I don't like fake sugar, like stevia, Splenda, I don't know, any of the fake sugars make me nauseous. And I was like, electrolyte powder drink, no artificial sweeteners, and I found one, and it was like, no artificial sweeteners. And then I read the ingredient list, and it was like stevia extract. And I was like, oh, no, not stevia. Can't do that. Makes me nauseous. So I gotta find something. We had a 3-month resub from Axie Sableye. Thank you. Subscription from Game 3 Lover. Welcome. 5 months from Murmur. 300 bits from Game 3 Lover, who says, excited to see the painting tonight. Thank you. I'm excited. I came in here and I turned on the lights and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot it was this far along. I couldn't remember what I did last week. So, yeah, that was exciting for me to see it. Game 3 Lover gifted 2 subs to Breathe the Wildly and Winterkeck. Thank you for those gift subs. And the Cactus Egg gifted a sub to Chaz. Thank you. Now Chaz can use my emotes. He's allowed to. Nunchu says, I guess stevia is a plant, so it's not artificial. Yeah, I mean, I haven't, like, tried a bunch of things. Like, I know Splenda in particular makes me nauseous, but I'm not really willing to risk it when I'm trying to hydrate. I don't want that. Like, I'm not looking for, like, soda sweet drink. I don't want the fake sugar. I don't care if it has no sugar. I just don't want the fake stuff. I had done some research and I found something, and they have it at Kroger, but not the Kroger I went to today, so now I need to go find another Kroger. We also have a 5-month resub from Snowy Satoru, thank you, and 5 months from Kuyadar, thank you. Renee says, Dieter uses something called Drip Drop when he's out in the field. Never heard of that one. That's not one that popped up. Dark Overlord says, a lot of artificial sweeteners are extremely bitter to me. It sucks. See, I'll have something, and then like 20 minutes later, I'm like, wow, why do I feel like garbage? Why do I feel like kind of sick and like I shouldn't have eaten whatever it was I ate? And then I'll check the ingredient list and be like, oh yeah. Oops. Dang it. We have a 5-month resub from Nunshoes. Thank you. And then Valix Butterfly gifted a sub to Sapphire Becca. Thanks for that gift sub. Renee says, Dieter's out in 106 degree temp, so it's been helping a lot. Yeah, I bet it's been hot, especially there. Today was our first nice day we've had in months. So I was out gardening. That's why I was a little bit late. Valix says, sounds like you need to drink things with real sugar in them. Yeah, I might start picking up some fruit juices. And as long as, like, if I water them down, or, like, mix sparkling into it so it still has some of that, like, that would be good too. But I am trying to just drink coconut water and suffer through it. Which is my approach to a lot of things. Like, sometimes I'll get a drink I don't like, and I'm like, oh, this sucks. Like, if I'm out and I'm like, oh, I bought it, and I have to drink it. It's fine. I'm not worried about it. I'm just not thrilled that it was that way. Normally I'm really good with water, and I don't know, lately I feel like I haven't been. I just get distracted and I'm like, oh yeah, I should have my water bottle, and I forget, and then I'll leave it somewhere, and then I won't have it. Nunshu says, it was 97 in Wisconsin today. Sounds like we traded weather. Yep, my dad sent me a picture of his thermostat, which tells him inside and outside temperature, and it was like outside 100, and I'm like, it was in the 80s here today. It was beautiful. This will be a vlog spoiler, but that's fine. I pulled out 3 tomato plants today because I needed to get rid of all of the plant, and they weren't really doing much at all, and the other 3 are doing great. So I was like, time for these to go. So we cut them up and we put them on the curb for pickup. This is the one I want today. Broop Reap says, I always cut my juice with lime sparkling water. It became a joke to my husband that it's my special drink. No alcohol though. So that's what we did growing up a lot. Like, my mom would get orange juice and we would always have LaCroix around, and then you'd like make a 50-50 mix of them. So like we had LaCroix growing up when I was, you know, in the 90s and early 2000s, like all the time. And it was always Raspberry or blackberry? I don't remember which one. It was like a purple can. Like a purple pink can. And we always mixed it with orange juice. Penguin Frog says, Mio is how I drink water. I was checking Mio because I have friends who drink Mio, and I was like, no, but it has fake sugar. And maybe there are some that don't, but I looked at like 3, and then I was like, this is taking too long. So I picked up coconut water. We have a subscription from LV Technician. Welcome, thank you. So, painting. Painting's looking great. Like I said, I was surprised when I came in here. I forgot I did all these trees. I'm in my towel. And so that was exciting to see. And the last thing I want to do is I want to put a bridge here. I got paint on me because I was cleaning off my palette. That's not my water. This is water. So I don't think I talked about it, but like in the VOD, Steven's been calling them like bridge painting 1, bridge painting 2, part 2. The person that I'm making this for, this bridge means something. That's why that bridge is going in there. And this is the New River Gorge Bridge in West Virginia. So that's what I am trying to do. Now, I had drawn like these chalk lines in last week, and I think I covered them all up with paint, but now that everything is super dry from last week, I'm just gonna like kind of wipe down the edges just to make sure if there was any chalk, it's gone. But I'm going to be putting more chalk on there in a second to draw the bridge, so it doesn't really matter. Kayla Chris says, I can't believe it took 3 bridge streams before the titular bridge shows up. Had to go last. Alex said you can definitely add sparkling water or plain seltzer to juice or Gatorade. That's kind of my plan. I have some, what is it called? Tonic water. And I do like tonic water. Sometimes I'll just drink it with a little bit of Rose's sweetened lime juice. Sometimes I'll add something else. But I do like it just as it is. I did have a Gatorade today. That's how I started the day, but I'm not a fan of Gatorade after having to use it before surgery, because you gotta do a bowel prep for endometriosis surgery. So now I don't like Gatorade, but that's fine because it has a lot of sugar, and I'd rather just drink juice. I could live on fruit juice, especially grapefruit. So, oh, this is all wet now. Needs to wait a second. Should have done that first. Oops. Because now I can't draw chalk when it's wet, so it needs a second. But I did get bit up by mosquitoes again today when I was pulling plants in the garden. I got everything I need to make tomato basil soup and grilled cheese, but I didn't do that before stream, and now I'm not sure I'm going to want to do it after stream, but I can do it tomorrow. I have so many tomatoes, I was just going to roast them with some onions, and then just kind of blend them with some chicken broth and basil and garlic and do a soup. That's kind of my plan. Apologies says same. I only drink Gatorade now that when I have to do the annual one. Otherwise it's dead to me. I know, I used to like it, and now I can't drink it for fun. Brett says, how was your trip to Wisconsin when you went a while back? It was good. I had a good trip. It was nice to see everyone. Oh. Tomato soup sounds good, Cabri says. Yeah. I have all these tomatoes. I'm like, what do I do with them? I'm kind of sick of just eating them. And they're all cherries, so like you can't just eat cherry tomatoes. I mean, you can, but then you get sick of them. So I'm gonna do that, and then I have a recipe for a ricotta tomato something. I just saw it on Food Wish's channel. They just put a video out for this tomato thing. And I was like, ooh, that's a good idea. So all I needed to get for that was the ricotta. Oh, the torta. Yes, it was a torta. Okay, where did my ruler go? I have a suspicion it's no longer in here because we used it for something. Ooh, that's not great. Ruler. Oh no. Oh no. Shoot. I'll have a straight edge of something, surely. Like this piece of glass. Oh, nope, found a straight edge. Haha. Found something. Those focaccia breads look divine. Thank you, Alex. They were very good. I was very happy with how they turned out. They were a lot easier than I thought they would be. Yeah, Jess. Nidawin says, do you like to use French curves for drawing lines? I have a set of French curves, but I've actually never used them. So at some point in my dad's life, he was super into architecture, and he almost went to architecture school or thought about it. And so he's always been into drawing, like, technical drawings. It was actually kind of funny when Haley showed off her living room plan of how the couch was gonna go. I was like, oh, this is the sort of thing my dad would do. So I have a chalk pastel right here, and it's a pencil chalk pastel. And I'm just using a blade to sharpen it, because I want a nice fine point, because this is small, and the bridge has details. So I want a somewhat fine point on that. So I want to put this bridge in here, and obviously the lines need to be great and straight, because it's a bridge, it's not like a tree. And it's going to come from behind on the left side here, and then, sorry. Yes, it's going to stay behind both of these trees. Is that what I wanted to do? Yes. I had to think through my plan. So I'm just going to draw a little bit on top of those trees, which is fine because I'll just erase it later. And I moved my ruler. And this is barely big enough for this canvas. Perfect. And I do want it to go up at an angle just a little bit. So this will be like the surface, and then we're going to draw in the side of it. And if I had planned any, I would have just done this in the black, because this will be a silhouette. But that's fine. We're going to get it blocked in here first so you can see it real good. And then we'll work on adding more to it. And I keep drawing this ruler, dropping the ruler. So that's what I want it to do. And then right about, say, here, I think, is where I want the curve to hit. So it's going to hit a little bit down from that though, like maybe here. And so we're going to have this arch go left and then right. And that's not exact yet. So what I tend to do when I'm drawing something that's not with a ruler is I'll just lightly sketch it in, and then I don't really like it. It's not perfect. So I'm going to kind of round this out until I'm happy with it. Like, I think it needs to arch more because it kind of cuts in. And Nidawin says, I'm always hesitant about using white because I never get it erased properly. So this is actually a very light gray. I have the same problem. This one's white that I have here, the shorter one. So I kind of pick based on what I'm doing. And I have a variety of grays here on my easel. Like this one's kind of yellow, and then this one is also gray. I think it's a warmer, lighter gray than what I'm using. And then I also have a dark. So I'll just kind of pick whatever's appropriate. But this is more of like a lighter gray. So I'm just trying to round this arch out just a little bit, and I may have done it too much. Now, see, the problem with this is you can see how thick this line gets, and you're like, that's not quite right, because these lines are going to be this thin. So what I end up doing is once I'm sort of like, I filled it in, and I know the line I want is in there somewhere, I just have to like erase. We will erase. So I have this tiny little brush, which got to be really bad, and I just chopped it off real short. And this is my scrub brush, so I just get it wet. And then I can come in here and kind of use it to erase these lines a little bit. So I can thin that line out to where I want it to be. Haley says, I'm sure it will all come out in the wash. It does when I sew things. You can throw acrylic paintings in the wash, right? I don't think it would totally destroy it, but it might destroy something. Maybe the stretcher bar? See, that looks a lot nicer. It's a lot thinner. It'll destroy the washing machine. Yeah, I'd probably destroy the washing machine. Especially mine, which is a front loader, and tends to shake the whole house if I have too much in it. But also, if I have like one thing in it, it'll still shake the house really bad. I bought these shocks, like their little feet that go in the washing machine, and they helped, but they didn't help a ton. I mean, it's mostly the stretcher bar in the back that would destroy everything. The wood part, just the canvas might be fine. Hard to say what would happen to the painting itself, though. It feels better. I erased a little bit, like right here, too much, but that's okay. I can see where it should be. Where did my chalk pastel go? I think I want it to come this way. That's better. All right. So this part actually gets a little bit more to it. I have to think in space how this looks, because it's like a cube, like a long rectangular cube, but because I have it skewed, part of it's going to get thinner and narrower based on the rest of it. So this part on the bottom, you can see a lot more of. So like if this is the bottom of that cube, you can see a lot of it, and then as we hit the crest of it up here, it's going to kind of join up and meet it a little bit. And then it's going to kind of follow it along here, so we so we don't really see it on this side. Because it's going to turn in space. But the side that faces you, like the vertical side, like not the bottom, but the vertical side, that you see the whole way. But because this part is like further back, it will get smaller. All right, happy with that. Now we have all of these vertical supports, and we have another little ruler needed part up here. All right, for all these vertical supports, we're just gonna start drawing some lines, starting with the center one. And if I count, I can do this accurately. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's 4, 4, and then 1 in the center. So I can do this mathematically and do the math. And I may decide that's too many for the spacing. And I think that may be too many for the spacing based on how I have other things. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of judge it based on what I see. So like I feel like there should be one here. And then if I look at like this distance for my guessing, then I can just use that for everything else. And I'm gonna use centimeters because it's more accurate. Let's see, 1 3/4 centimeters. 1, okay, that's way not the same at all. See, this is the part of painting I like, is figuring out all of the math. That feels better. Is that an easier number to do? Not in inches. That's 2 and 1, okay. So there'll be one here, and then there'll be one here, and then here, and then there. That feels good. Perspectives, yep. Biology says, the best part of art, math. I always liked doing perspective drawings. Like when I took drawing in college, I struggled with a lot, and then we finally got to perspectives, and I rocked it. And then I finally got better at not perspectives. 1, 2, 1. That spacing feels good. Oh, I need ruler back because I need to draw these. That's looking good. Happy with this. Thanks, Noah. The problem is I've used a T-square before, where it would sit like this, and then you could make sure it was square. But I found that these canvases that are already stretched are not square sometimes. So I don't like to do that. I just like to kind of eyeball it and see if it looks right. That one felt a little crooked. Yeah, happy with that. Okay. So next, I want to start filling this in with paint marker. And it's been a while since I've used these, so I need to see if any of these need replacing. Ooh, this one doesn't. Ooh, that's a good surprise. Look at that. Ooh, good surprise. That's the one that always clogs up. All right, let's see if the other one is fine. Oh no, none of them. Wonderful, this is good news. I have a ton of these plastic tips and I end up replacing them all the time because they get clogged. So let's talk about these paint pens. Or I can do this first and then while it dries I'll talk about these paint pens. That's probably the best use of my time. Don't jinx it. Then I'll have to do it live and replace them. So sometimes I'll use my straight edge and just draw with this, and it doesn't always work well. It just kind of bleeds under the ruler, so that sucks. So I'm just going to draw on top of my chalk lines and try not to erase everything with my hands. I'm trying to hold the canvas square against the easel because I don't want it to move on me when I'm doing this. And everything else is dry, so that's great. And some of this is getting a little chunky over here where I didn't quite draw a nice straight line, but that's okay because that part of the bridge is going to get filled in later. Kayla Crisp says, I love the sort of scratching sound on the canvas. I do too. Like, it's not too loud. And I find that using little tiny strokes like I'm doing, instead of like trying to do it on a long big stroke, is better. The chalk does clog this up a little bit, so every so often I just kind of draw on my glass palette to get some more ink flowing. And this isn't ink, it is paint. We have a 5-month resub from Jay Linebeck and also 5 months from Luna Gazer. Thank you both. I heard the paint drop. And if I make a little mistake with this and I'm quick about it, I can fix it. And I just did that, which is why I bring that up. So I'm going to grab that same scrub brush I used earlier and just scrub a little bit away at some of this. It is harder because it will bleed into the water on the brush and kind of pull it up onto the rest of the canvas. And then I forgot which one I was using, this one, the thicker one. Our Britchka's coming together. Oh wait, I forgot the other vertical parts. Okay, we'll let that dry. We'll talk about paint markers, and then we'll do some more because there's a lot to this. Do I have an empty paint marker? Maybe. May not. I do have a cup of tips and paint. You're empty. You're not the same brand, but you're empty. Cool. So this is paint. This is carbon black. Last week, 2 weeks ago, we used titanium white for the stars, which is just liquid high flow white. This is the same thing in black. And I actually keep white and black all the time here. So I have that ready. Now my favorite brand of these is Dollar Rowney. And it comes in different sizes. I like the smallest two. One is plastic, one is not. It's like metal and plastic. And the Molotov ones are good too if you get the empty paint markers. But I don't like these tips as much. They're different. But I keep them for different reasons. And this is the only empty one I have right now. So I use that liquid paint and I have these markers. And when you take the cap off, they look like this. And these ones are like that felt, like that compressed felt, and they push in like this. That's how you get it flowing from the reservoir. So the other ones, I'll show you their tips, which is why I like them different. But you just unscrew it, and then you have the paint tip, and then you have this little inside cap with a hole in it. And this is super messy when you do this, by the way. You think I'd be able to do this with nails. So this is like the pump mechanism that caps the reservoir. And then inside that, there's a little tiny ball bearing. So you just fill this part with your liquid paint, and you can see on the side how far it is, and you have like a max fill. And you just put it back together. Lickstrom says, I had no idea you could fill them. So I buy empty ones to fill with what I want. So like, I want it to be liquid acrylic. I don't want it to be marker because that has like alcohol in it, and I want it to be paint. So I buy the empty ones and fill them with liquid paint. So yeah, and then you can just shake a little bit, and then to get it going, you just kind of like push down on a piece of paper until like it floods the tip, and then you can draw with it. Come here. So I didn't put anything in that because I have a purpose for that. So on these ones, this brand, this is super messy because it's everywhere. These tips are plastic, but they work the exact same way. I'm gonna get this all over, aren't I? So it took off the whole like pump mechanism here, but the reservoir is here. But it works the same way. It comes apart the same way. It's just, it's full of black paint so you can't see what you're looking at. And sometimes I do have trouble with it doing like that if I hit the pump mechanism. And it's just kind of everywhere. And it gets messy. So you have to kind of be careful, and there is a little bit of a difficulty with that. But I don't know, I've gotten used to it and I've kind of figured out their quirks. So yeah, you can buy refills of the tips if they like get clogged, or like in the case of these felt ones where they kind of just like fall apart over time and they don't have a nice edge to them. These are the plastic ones for the dollar brownies. And they come in like packs of 10, and there's so many because they get clogged pretty easy. If you keep the cap on, it doesn't ever have that much trouble, I find. And I store them this way. I don't store them, I keep them horizontal. So these are the plastic tips, and the one that I just used for this, it's just totally plastic. And there's like little grooves in it and like a tiny hole through the center, and then there's like a little bit here. So that's what was in this pen. And the one I'm going to use for the finer details on this is just a smaller version, but it has metal. Nunshu says, does it ever dry out? It does if I leave it open. And probably once a year I definitely have to replace the tips. Like if I really want something to be super fine and not have any problems, if I'm really struggling with it leaving a big drop of paint, I'll just switch it because they come in packs of 10. And these come in all sorts of sizes. Like these one, this is a chisel tip for a different one I have. I have a lot of these felt tips I don't use. But the smaller pen that I'm going to use in a second, that one looks like this. So it has the same like compressed felt back here, but it has this metal with a tiny piece of plastic, so it has a lot finer point. These ones dry out really fast. So these ones I tend to replace more. And then I have a few other different things. I have this one. This one is a brush tip. So you can kind of do like super thin lines, and you can also like lay it down and do like almost calligraphy. And this is a shading gray, so it's transparent. So sometimes I'll use this if I want to like add a little bit of darker stuff on things. Like if I just kind of want to shade something a little bit darker, I'll use that. So I have a brush tip in shading gray that I keep. This must be Mars. Nope, this is my chisel tip in shading gray. This is a white brush tip. And this must be the Mars brush tip. Yep. And I have you. What are you? Oh, you're one of those felt ones that have just gotten real bad that I probably should replace. And it's also, this is actually white, but I probably do need to replace that. So that's how I do all that. And it's just paint. And I did put the one I need away. This is Bixby Canyon. This is the New River Gorge in West Virginia. And now I have paint everywhere because it left big blotches of paint on my palette. Let's try not to get that on my phone. So all this chalk here will go away eventually, probably tomorrow or the day after this is totally dried. But I don't want to erase it, especially with this liquid, because I don't want that to smear. That would be bad. But I am going to be using the finer point. I should have known by the lack of Death Cab for Cutie. I am going to be using this one for the remainder because I'm going to be drawing smaller things in here. And I have to be careful with the chalk because I don't want to go over any of these wet lines. But for example, over here, let's see, it's the back, yeah. Like I want to know where this support is going to sit. So I'm going to kind of roughly sketch, and then I'm just going to like freehand all of this. And so these are all squares because you're not seeing it directly on. So you're getting a little bit of perspective with things. Like some of these you'll see directly on the side, so you won't see the whole square of it. That's fine. And I'm trying not to stick my hand right on the bridge and get paint everywhere. And I think I'm just going to kind of start from the left and work my way right, because this should be like mostly dry. Yeah, I just don't want to get it everywhere and smear it. We have a 5-month resub from Starbloom Faye, thank you. And these support pieces have just X's on them. So we're just going to draw X's. Like that. It's super tiny, and I'm sure it's ultra tiny in the camera. And I need to do all my detail while I'm at it because this is going to be impossible later. So along the top of the bridge, there's a lot of vertical pieces. And I'm just realizing that this will all be in silhouette, so there's not much point to that. Okay, cool. That makes my job easier. Anyway, we'll leave that alone, and then we'll just fill that in later with the bigger pen. Remember how I said that tiny one gets clogged easier? Yeah, it just did. It's also dropping a ton of paint onto my palette. So this comes over to here, and then it drops down. And then we have our X's. Let's see. It's probably going to be blurry because of how my camera works, but you can kind of see the X's. And then this arch part, it gets these pieces that kind of radiate. I may be changing this paint tip regardless. There we go. They kind of like ticks on a clock. They go this way, and then they cut over underneath. Like so. And then they get V's. So I have to kind of like judge the center point and then go up and make these V's. Oh, it's cooking. So this is what I'm going to just be doing, is a lot of this little detail work. But this is my favorite thing to paint, is little detail work. Especially when it involves math. And you do see the third bar of this, I feel like, so I should probably end up just drawing in. Where would you see that? Back here? Yeah. Yeah. It's just a lot of scaffolding. Time to cook? We'll be cooking on Friday. Haley says, let her cook. I don't want to cook tonight. Not anymore. It's too late. I'm supposed to make soup. I don't really wanna. But that's being an adult. See, this one should be vertical. And all the underside ones should be horizontal. Make Kepi do it? Kepi can cook. So I'm continuing the radial part of this. Do the V's flip? Yes. Good to know. Oh, I touched it. Oops. Gotta be careful. It's looking pretty good. Let's fill in that top part with the thicker marker, and then we'll let that dry for a second and see what else I need to do. I think I might want to, do I want to do a brush? No. It's a bridge. We'll probably do some more to that. There's another level. Haley says, everyone get water and stretch. I just need to set timers so I remember I need to hydrate. XD Symphony says, I was going to make stir fry, but I didn't feel like doing a cook, especially because I cook at work. So I just had a sandwich. Sandwich is good. I have stuff for grilled cheese. That's supposed to go with soup already, though. Oh no, that was bad. Towel, where did you go? Sakura Silica said I was lazy, so leftover salmon and salad. You gotta use up those leftovers. We had leftover shrimp tacos for lunch. Humbology says I literally just finished eating 2 grilled cheese. Grilled cheese sounds good, but making it is not what I want to do. I was in the garden for a while today. Haley says, I took my last steroid. Way less spicy than last time. Haley was very spicy on that. Action Cat says, we decided to not cook tonight. Tomorrow, though. We made pork schnitzel last night. There's a German restaurant I want to try. Took me a second to recognize this song. Tokunute says, I mean, Steven could cook tonight. He could, but the thing we were gonna cook is something I have to make up on the fly. So that's not really a Steven thing. Noah says, how spicy do you like your steroids? 6. So things I'm thinking about with this bridge, I think it needs a little more line weight because I have some nice thin lines in these V's that I have inside the arch here. And like the X's are pretty small, but I feel like it could use more line weight. So I think what I want to do is I think I want to take the thicker marker again and go back over some of like the outside lines and give it some variation in line weight. And then the tiny line I have underneath the thicker line up here, I think I want to do some more support through there just so it looks Like it has something instead of just kind of floating there. And it's supposed to, but it's tiny, so. No, it's a 6? Yeah. But I'm happy with the painting. I gotta figure out how I want to sign it. So that's like the last thing I always do, is sign it. And I'll probably go in the bottom right corner because that's my preference. And white would make no sense because it's gonna really stand out and not be good to look at. Because nothing, I mean the stars are white, but like it's gonna be way too attention getting. And it's not gonna show up in black. So like my next thing is like, oh, Haley says, I suggest you sign it with your name. So yeah, dark overarts is like a lighter green color, that would work. Or I could do it white first. I'm gonna have to do it white first. And then use like one of these colors inside of here for the sky. Sakura Celica says purple. Purple, yeah, I could bring some purple down into there. So there's some little things I'm thinking about, like I could do this, maybe this. Yes, Noah, I could use Hooker's green. I put it away, where'd it go? On top of white, or mixed in with some white? Yeah, that would work. The pink would be pretty, I think, but the green is going to like keep it kind of muted because it'll still be in the trees here. So I'm kind of thinking the green. It's gonna be one of these lighter greens though. It won't be like the dark one so you barely see it. I want you to still see it. And if I was picking a sky color, let's see, green's opposite is red, so red would be really contrasty and stand out. I don't know if I'd want to go red. Maybe I'd pull one of these like pinker colors from the clouds. But the green is easy because I have it right here in a tube. I have to remake a pink. Alright, where's my thinner, or not thinner, the other marker? Where did you go? There you are. So we're gonna thicken up some of these line weights just so there's some variation in this. That's not the right one. This is the right one. And all I'm going to do is hopefully not smear anything and just kind of go on the edge of some of these and paint next to them. And some of them I already did that a little bit thicker, just unintentionally, accidentally. So this just kind of cleans up the lines too. Yeah, that helps a lot. And I made another mistake. So I'm trying to be careful going around these trees because I don't want to cover them up. Oops, that was a bigger mistake. Now we really gotta fix it. With acrylic, if you're fast, you can fix it. You just gotta be real fast. And you can't hesitate. Perfect. Yeah, that definitely helps a lot, I think. So I'm gonna do the same on the arch. But because it's not like an edge like the other one was, I have to kind of go down the center and go back and forth to thicken up this line weight. Like, if I have my line, I'm kind of like coloring on the left and then the right, like simultaneously back and forth. Can't do it. You can't watch this part, sorry. There. I just finished up that part of the arch. I can't turn my head and my arm with the camera. It's too hard. Yeah, that definitely helps. I'm not gonna do this one. Good choice. We have a 5-month resub from Shiny Hunter John 151. Thank you. This is like bolding your whole font on a paper. Just gives it a lot more. Haley says manual bolding. Yes. All right, that's good. And then I want to do something at the very top up here where this part is floating. you know what? We're just gonna replace this. I'm sick of it. So we're gonna replace this and we will have a better paint tip on here. And like I said, it took off the whole piece of it and I don't want this to fall over and spill liquid paint everywhere. There we go. So then this is the part that's like the outer cap. I'm trying not to get my hands super full of paint, but I'm not successful. Okay. Nope. So I got this part back. Put that back. And we're gonna leave that sit. And this is the paint one I took out, the used one I took out. So like there's paint everywhere. It's a mess. And now I gotta go find the replacements. There's a replacement. Okay, so I've put like all of this part back together, and then this part just goes right here. And then this is the part that goes up and down on the spring. And if I flip it, it'll start flooding that paint tip. And it kind of is. But I have to put this cap on first. Nope, nope, don't fall. Don't get paint on this. Starting. There we go. That's so much better. So much better. I should have really just done that to start with. And we're gonna put the cap on while I clean my hands off. And last week I had just done my nails and I got paint on them, and finally over time I was able to just kind of just scrape it off eventually, and then I didn't have any more paint on top of the polish. But this week I don't care as much because it's starting to chip, and that means it's time to replace it. Perfect. Now I won't mess anything up. I say that now. So on the top of the bridge here, I think what I'm going to do is I've angled all of these pieces like radial to like the center point as well. So I think I'm just going to kind of continue that. Sometimes it doesn't want to write on the canvas. Unless it's like totally square to it. There we go. Yeah, so I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to put probably more V shapes up there. Yeah, that helps. All right, V shapes. Where did I do that? Right here. The second I stop with this little marker, it never wants to draw again on the first try. I'm also finding the V shapes quickly turned into X's because the two V's, based on how they overlap, just make an X. Yeah, it looks good. I can't help but notice you're not angling the marker up. Is it special? I need to draw like square to the canvas or it doesn't really want to draw. I also find that based on like the fluid dynamics of how it works with the liquid, it really like pulls it all the way. It doesn't really need to go down. It will leak out though if I leave the pen down. So the last thing I have to do besides my name is get rid of this chalk, which isn't really possible given the painting right now. It needs to dry. So I'm gonna try and erase some of it here so you can kind of see where it sits behind the tree. It helps a little bit to view it. Later, tomorrow, maybe in a few days, I'll just wipe the whole thing down with a wet towel and it'll take all of this chalk off. And it'll really stand out nice then. But for now, it just has to stay there. But the last thing I have to do is sign my name. And because I'm always worried I'm gonna mess it up, even though it's my name, I always do it in chalk first. I'm like, I'm not happy with that. So we're gonna redo it. Renee says, I get that. Yeah. Give that a second to dry. MCL Blue says, honestly, relatable. Yeah. Gotta make sure it's right. In the meantime, I can make sure one of these white markers with white paint works, because I'll need that. Oh, nope. Nope, we're using a brush. That needs totally cleaned out. You're gonna pop paint everywhere. Let's go away from the canvas. We'll find a nice little brush while we're at it. Go with this one. That's better. All right, tiny brush. And now this part I think is too close, but I can just scooch it out a little bit. Yeah, happy with that. Cool. We'll give that a second. Maybe mix some green up because it's still a little dark. Hooker's green on its own. And then that'll also have to get erased, the chalk on that. But that's also a tomorrow problem. We have a 4-month resub from Jade. Thank you. Alright, so I mixed up a green. And I used some of the same titanium white I just used to sign my name. So I'm just going to go straight over it with this. And the hard thing with the chalk is knowing if I covered all of it. But I suppose this is easy enough to mix up later. This is a great song for this. So one of the things I like about doing this is as I kind of fill it in, you can see it kind of like recede back into how much attention you view it with. So like when it was totally titanium white, it really caught your attention, but with the green it pushes it back and makes it fit better visually. I think it's just better that way. And this is one of my really nice paintbrushes, so I want to make sure I really have it clean. Because the little ones I find always tend to go bad first. Perfect. I'm gonna let that dry for a second and I'm gonna run my Patreon ticker. So if you're interested in supporting me, you can go do so over on patreon.com/MalMakes. We're gonna do a little bit more, but I wanted to make sure that ran tonight because I know I've forgotten in the past. So yeah, you can check that out and see what the current tiers are. Things will be changing a little bit before the end of the year because I still haven't gone through everything and figured out exactly how it's going to work yet. But if you want to support me, you can do so there. This piece will be available on my Redbubble. The actual canvas is not going for sale. That's obviously going to be a gift for someone. So this will be going to them. Probably the next few weeks here once I get it, the chalk wiped down, varnished, and then mailed out to them. But thank you patrons for your support. I do appreciate you through this transition thing I've been doing this year. We also have a subscription from One Weird Cat, thank you, at 3 months, who says they got their Redbubble. Awesome, glad you got it. I get an email when they go out. So I don't know who they go to. They don't tell me anything. They're just like, hey, someone bought a phone case. It shipped today. And I'm like, cool. That's literally all I know. So here is the finished piece. It's going to be blurry if I bring it up, but you can kind of see a little bit of the detail. And I do want to paint the bottom of the canvas still here while I have a few seconds. But this has kind of been like my normal process is I do the sky, I do the clouds, and then I do like the foreground stuff, and then I sign it, and then I flip it upside down and paint the bottom of it. So I wanted to make sure that we did everything else before I did that, because you will be watching it upside down for a little bit. But I'm really happy with how this turned out, especially the sky. I really like how the sky turned out. I'm really happy with the color choice that I did. So I need plastic. Oh yeah, I have water. I'm supposed to drink water. Did I finish this? Yeah, I finished that. Is this wide enough? Yep. Shoot. That's not working. We gotta do this the long way. So this is plastic canvases come wrapped in. And I just cut it up into strips and I use it to cover paint while it dries. And then I also use it to protect the canvas. And I'm just rolling it for ease of cutting. Did I ever fix my iPad? No, but I did pull up the picture beforehand so it was ready and I didn't have to do it during stream and figure it out. So I have a cut piece here and it's just plastic. And sometimes I'll put plastic on the tray here because this will stick to it. But because I didn't finish the bottom, I wasn't worried about it. But now that I'm going to flip it upside down and paint that part, this part's done. I don't want to repaint that. So I'm going to use the plastic to protect that. Like so. Perfect. And most of this is black with just a little bit of Hooker's green, so that's how we're gonna finish this up today. Did I use Mars? Pretty sure I used Mars, because it was a warmer piece. Noah says hydrate. Thanks, Noah. Just gonna put Lil Mars Black on the palette. Irish Ian says, hi, saw you on my front page and I had to come in and say your use of color is breathtaking. Thank you. I've been working on this this is the third week I've been doing it, like a couple hours each time. I've been having fun with it. Welcome in. We're just kind of chill painting. Brandon says this is a sky island. Yes, this is a sky island. So I kind of lean it forward because then I can see it better. And I'm just going to fill this in Mars Black. I'm going to try not to mess anything else up that's wet. And I also, when I'm doing the edge here, I'm trying not to accidentally swipe the front of the painting. Irish says, it's quite lovely. You can feel the chill in the air around that time of day when looking at it. Really invokes an early evening nostalgia. Yeah, I wanted to make sure, so this is a present for someone I know that just got married, and I had asked them, I said, what kind of sky is your favorite? I was like, daytime, nighttime. I was like, and if it's nighttime, is it more of like a sunset? Is it like civil twilight? And I was like, what kind of colors? And this was kind of what they said. They have no idea this is coming. I think. They know I stream, but I don't know if I told them not to watch. So this is kind of what I came up with based on what they had told me. And I think it's going to be spot on with what they had told me with the colors. There. So that's all Mars Black now. And we're going to give that a second, and then we're going to put some more Hooker's Green on the palette. And we'll finish this up. We need to find a new brush. Where's the good tappy brush I had last week? What brush was I using? I put them all away. I washed them and then put them away immediately. I don't know, we'll use this one. I don't have to do a whole lot of tappy because it's just this edge part, the edge of the canvas. XD Symphony says, I like sunrise, waking up at 5 a.m. every day for work. I see the sunrise all the time, whereas a lot of people don't. That was one of my favorite times in Animal Crossing, was when the sky was like just before the sun would come up in game, when it was kind of like greenish blue. That part was really great. Alright, so last week when we did this, we had filled in the trees with Mars Black, and then I had a nice bristle brush and I tapped in the Hooker's Green, and then I tapped it in with a little bit of like yellow and white for the edge. But because this part is like not this part, that ends kind of here, but I still want to give some variation, I just have a little bit, and we're going to tap that down here just so there's something. Because that's what's here too. You just really can't tell. And I'm not putting a ton of paint on this brush. You can kind of see how they're all splayed out, maybe. And again, I'm trying not to accidentally smash this brush into the front of the painting, because that's done. Maybe a little bit right here, just to get this edge painted right, because there's still a little pink there. There, cool. Great. No Chaz, no blindfold incentive right now. And I'm just going to hold this right side up because that's what I can't set it. But this is the finished piece, and there's going to be a glare, and it's going to be a little blurry because of where it is. But this is it. And the chalk will go away later. When it's on Redbubble, there will be no chalk on it when I put that up there. So, yeah, later, like I said, I will erase all the chalk. It'll dry, I'll varnish it. It'll go up on Redbubble. And then it'll get mailed off to the bride and groom. So this is the piece. No moon. I did think about adding a moon. I thought it would be too much with everything else. So, and now it's going to go back upside down to dry. How do I upload pieces to Redbubble? That's a great question. So depending on how big my canvas is, like the ones I had been doing were 18 by 24. I do not have a scanner that is 18 by 24. I wish I did. It would make things a lot simpler. This one will fit in my scanner, so I will scan this one. And I tend to do a few different ways of scanning it. I'm going to try some different things this time that I've researched. And then I go through in Photoshop and I mess with it to make it look as close to this as possible. And I've gotten really good at it after doing over 100 paintings and doing it this way. On the larger pieces, I will square the camera to the painting. So what I mean by that is right now this is not square to the camera. I have to get it like perfectly square, like this part here. No, this part's too tall. So like I have to like make sure it's perfectly square, and then I take pictures of it with a good camera. And then that goes into Photoshop and I make sure it's correct. I'm glad you were here, Irishian. Thank you. Thanks, Cassidicia. Las Vagabond says, I can't believe every MalMakes is photoshopped just to look right. Has to be photoshopped right. The other thing I do sometimes is like some items on Redbubble, like the layout for how it prints it. For example, there's a backpack. The backpack rarely works for my work because like this won't go on the backpack. Like it'll like cut it out. So you'll have like this part and then it'll be like the pocket and then like the straps. That doesn't work. So sometimes it'll work where I can do it and I can like go into Photoshop and like put pieces there to make it work right. If that makes sense. Like I can kind of like cut out pieces to make sure that when it prints it works, but it's also kind of a pain and it doesn't really work all the time because they can't like guarantee the exact alignment for printing. So normally I just don't have the backpacks. But there's some things like that that I can do, and I will do it sometimes. All right. Who is streaming? We will also need a raid message. Oh yeah, I should probably say, I stream like once a week, normally Tuesday or Wednesday evening around 7 p.m. Eastern. Oh wait, those are clips. Those aren't who's live. Is Roland live? Is Roland actually live? Roland is live. What is Roland doing? He's playing Minecraft. Sure, let's do that. So my friend Roland is streaming Minecraft. And Roland is a really good friend of mine. And yeah, I like that Humbology. The raid message will be too tired for grilled cheese because I think Roland would appreciate that. And he's gonna be mad that I'm raiding him. So please go say hi to Roland and tell him too tired for grilled cheese. And thanks everyone for watching. I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to be streaming next week. I'm thinking another painting. Next one will be obviously not a bridge at Twilight, but we'll figure that out next week. Why is he going to be mad we're raiding him? Because it's Roland. And Roland likes to be mad about things. He's not actually mad. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good night, everyone. Go say hi to Roland. Oh, he's streaming with someone. I need a mouse. Where's my mouse? Oh my goodness, guys. Thank y'all. There's his sigh. I knew that was going to be his response. Too tired for grilled cheese. That's a lie. Fancy grilled cheese, Roland. All right. Thanks everyone for being here. Hope you have a good Wednesday. See you for breakfast stream tomorrow morning over on Steven's channel. Night, everyone.